The AFC South Fantasy Football Preview and Best Bets edition of Old Fashioned Football on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. You can now win up to 325 times your entry with their new Pick 8. Sign up with OFFSGPN to claim your special pick, plus a first-time deposit offer up to $250 in bonus cash. UnderdogFantasy.com, promo code OFFSGPN. We're also brought to you by Rhythm. Rhythm. Get the best data-driven props and picks from Rhythm. Claim your 7-day free trial by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM.
Hey, what's up? This is Sam Acho, and you're listening to Old Fashioned Football.
Old Fashioned Football.
Make this deal right now, you pancake eating mother.
All right, deal.
Old Fashioned Football.
Welcome to Old Fashioned Football. If you're wondering who you're listening to, that is fair. This is J Mark. You can find me on the X at JMark Football, and us is at Old Fashioned FB. Before I keep going to talk about the AFC South, got to introduce my co-host on the pod and in life. You can find her on the X at the Mark. Mur, how you doing today?
I'm doing good. How are you?
It was a little bit of a busy day, running around, getting a tire fixed, getting the tire put back on, all that stuff, and trying to cram that around lunch break and everything else, and actual work. It's important to work and pay the bills and all that.
Yeah, and you want to talk to me about a tire?
Yeah, let's jump right into that. You had
I'm saying, like, you're gonna talk to me. Oh, it's been a day. I had to deal with the tire.
You had a bit.
What about my day yesterday?
You had a bit of a fun day yesterday with the tire. Now,
No.
I would like to jump in right away and say that your very smart hubby said, "Why don't
Oh
you
my
stop
God,
at the
no.
gas station and air it
I
up?"
was gonna be late. And it wouldn't have changed the outcome. The tire was flat.
The tire would have had more air in it, but yeah, I get what you're saying.
Like, what if I had stopped at the gas station and then it fully went flat then?
So you did have a fun. I mean, it was hotter than shit yesterday.
It was like 95 degrees.
Yeah, with a real feel of 100 or something. But you had a fun time changing it.
It was really windy.
Yeah,
I was in a dress and flip-flops.
Flip-flops.
I'm pretty sure half of West Des Moines saw my ass yesterday. I can't
Lucky
count the
sons of
number of
bitches.
guys who drove past. There was even because I'm in the parking lot. I'm just gonna say it. TMI. I was at my gynecologist, and it's like their office is right off of the Mercy Surgical Center in West Des Moines. I'm in the parking lot. Like, do you know how many women, all these guys are walking by? I'm in the parking lot of the OBGYN.
Yes.
And they just look and keep driving. And I'm struggling. I finally used my flip-flops, my feet, with the crowbar, the
Tire
iron, not crowbar. I knew crowbar was wrong. So, and to use it I couldn't get them loosened. I had to use my legs to get them loosened.
Yeah, they're on there good.
Then I messed up something under the car with the jack. I was struggling forever, and I had you on speakerphone, my dad on speakerphone at one point for moral support. I knew what I was doing-ish. I was testing my driver's ed knowledge, which, do you know that was 20 years ago?
Yeah.
I was like, I learned this in driver's ed. I can do this. I've never changed a tire except for when I did it in driver's ed. I can do this. It was 20 years ago.
Yeah.
But I put the jack, it wasn't clear to me under the car where I put the jack.
Yeah.
And
I will say on the Honda, it is a little tricky finding that spot.
It's weird. And where you are supposed to put it is not where I would have thought. But the jack has it's like a saddle.
Yeah.
And I thought it fit the bar that I put it under. So I crushed
the bar that I think is the fuel tank strap.
Yes. I thought it was like I thought I ruined something in
And
the
again-
car. I was like freaking out. I was like, oh my God.
Again,
No.
your smart husband who was on the phone with you and you said, I've been doing this forever and it's just not getting the car up. I said, I need you to stop and send me a photo. And you said, no, I can do this.
Dude.
And I said, but if it's
I
not
already
going
sent my dad
up,
a photo.
there's
I already
something
sent
wrong
my
with
dad
it.
a photo, and he said, yeah, that L bracket thing is where you want to put it on. His L bracket thing was different from my L bracket thing. And
There was no L to the bracket.
no, it was an L shape. It was an L shaped bar.
Okay.
And it is a bracket, actually. So anyway, I put it where I thought, because I sent my dad a photo. You were on another podcast
I
when
was.
this happened.
Yes.
And so I was like, okay, Dad, I'm going to send you a photo. Where do I put the jack? And it wasn't raising. And my arms
Which is
hurt
why
today.
I said to stop and send me a photo because I knew something didn't sound right.
No, and I was working on it for like 30 minutes trying to jack up the car.
Now,
And my arms hurt. They're sore today because I was like trying so hard.
now, once you found the right spot, you get car jacked up right away.
Like under 5 minutes.
You
I
got
had
the lug
it
nuts
jacked.
off, but we do live on a gravel road, and
That tire
our tires
was cemented on.
yes.
I couldn't pull it off. So you still had to come help me anyway.
It took a lot of J-Mark force on the ground, kicking it to get it to loosen up finally.
But it just must be a city thing versus a small town thing, because I can't, like,
I think
so
it's
many
a youth
people watch
thing.
me. I did have one lady come over to me and she's like, oh no, I'm so sorry. I would help you if I knew what I was doing, but I have no clue how to change a tire. I was like, it's okay.
This is why people need to be retested to get their driver's licenses renewed, so
it was
that they do
more
remember
help,
these
like
things.
strength.
Yeah.
Was more the help that I needed. I
Right.
needed
Um,
somebody stronger than me.
Colby
to
and I
help
did
me.
discuss it on the CFL Gambling podcast on how nobody helped you, and he thinks it's not necessarily a big city thing, but today's youth. Because if you think about
no. There were two guys that were definitely in a generation above me standing and talking on the sidewalk while this is all going down. And I am not going to go ask for, I was fine. I guess, am I stubborn? Could I have asked them for help, walked over to them and asked them for, yes.
yes, is she stubborn? Could we have gotten AAA out there for free through our insurance? Yes.
I don't need to go into more TMI, but
All
I
right,
don't like
let's-
going to the doctor.
Let's
period.
talk about this.
So
what we're going to
you're
talk
like,
about
we're
today.
done. We're cutting
Yeah.
this off.
Yeah, let's move on with the football. This is our 5th of 8th. We've gone through the NFC. We're on to the AFC. We're talking about the AFC South, and you can still check out those NFC divisions. Of course, we're looking at ADP, AAV, the average auction value, and giving out some best bets, which has been fun. Some of them are going to hit. I know they are, so make sure you're paying attention and tune in and give us your best bets. We'd love to hear what you're betting. So Miranda, the division, that the AFC South has one of your favorite AFC teams. Well, I would say probably your favorite AFC team.
Texans.
Yeah.
They sure do. Stroud is my man. We're going to talk about the Colts.
Excuse me?
He is my man. We're going to talk about the Colts, the Titans, the Jags, and the Texans today.
If you're not on YouTube, make sure you come on over to YouTube at Old Fashioned FB. I was just cracking my neck and knuckles to take a swing on CJ Stroud. I could take him. I know I can. Real quick, obviously you're listening to Old Fashioned Football, and the countdown to football season is on, and SGPN has got you covered. Not just us, the college football experience with Colby Dant, who, I mean, we've had him on the podcast, wealth of knowledge, doing individual team previews for every college football team. That's like 156 teams or something. Plus, make sure you check out Dave, Dynasty Dork's new SGPN 5-Minute Fantasy Football for your quick and dirty podcast, getting
Quick and dirty,
getting you prepped for all things fantasy. That's the difference between, I guess, his podcast and ours. We are dirty, but not very quick. But yeah, little 5-minute episodes helping you out. It's a lot of fun, and Dave is a great guy. We really like Dave. He's been on our show as well before, so make sure you go check that out. Miranda, before we talk about these teams, what are we drinking today?
Because we're in the AFC South, we thought, well, and the Texans are my favorite AFC South team, we thought we'd bring Texas whiskey onto the show today. We've tried Balcones before on the show. We really like them.
Yes.
We have not tried this one, though.
No, we have not had this one on the
This
show.
is their Brimstone.
Yes.
And it is it's a little bit of a smoky whiskey.
Oh, yeah. We'll get into all that,
We
of course.
will. But I think it makes a really great old fashioned.
It does. And you made the old fashioned,
did.
switching it up a little bit. I do have a complaint.
Oh shit! What?
What are all these little ice cubes? I've been told that you can't make an
I
old fashioned with
know.
little ice cubes.
You
do have
can't.
big ice cubes. I know we do. I have filled them.
No.
You
They're
must have
empty.
looked in the right
No,
spot.
I did.
I know there's 2 that are
I
empty.
do not have man eyes. I looked. We have 1 rose, and I thought I was gonna put the big rose ice cube in mine.
Oh, you should have.
But then I thought, you know what? They won't match.
It
It's
is a
fine.
damn good old fashioned though.
I-
The smokiness really shows through.
Yes, and instead of orange bitters, because we always do the Angostura, not Sutra, Angostura
Oh,
bitters with some orange bitters. I
Yeah.
subbed the orange for spice cherry.
Yeah.
And
oh, nice. I like it.
and I didn't do an actual cherry. And I have had more recently when we've had some old fashions going out, everybody puts grenadine in them.
Well, I'll tell you a story about a
And I'm
Manhattan I
so
got.
tired of
Yeah, you get
that.
some old fashions that are very red. I
Yeah,
ordered a
it
Manhattan.
shouldn't be red at all.
No, old fashioned should not, and Manhattans definitely should not. A Manhattan is basically whiskey and vermouth.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I ordered one at a bar in South Dakota. In South Dakota, and I watched him make it. First, he takes the cherries, and I thought, oh, he's going to put a cherry in it. No, he put no cherry in it. He just dumped some of the juice out of the little cherry container in it, and then he put grenadine syrup in it. And I'm like, dude, what the fuck are you doing? And you saw
Did
it.
you
It
get any vermouth?
Yeah, there was vermouth too,
Okay.
and whiskey. But you saw it. It was a very red Manhattan. It was a very cherry-y
Mhm.
Manhattan, and I wanted a Manhattan just to change it up. I'd already had their old fashioned for lunch because we ate there for lunch, and then
That
we
was
were
all
at the
you had.
reception
You had it for lunch.
for lunch. Yeah, just an old fashioned liquid lunch. They don't call me liquid lunch for nothing. But yeah, he obviously didn't know what he was doing. The old fashioned was not my favorite. So I didn't reorder that. That's why I got the Manhattan. But anyways, shout out to the chat. Nick Fortune says, evening, J Mark and Murr.
Hey, Nick.
My mom's saying, shout out to the Taekwondo for teaching me how to do those kicks so I could kick the ass of
Yes.
that tire. And Nick, for his bets, he's betting his wad on Brock Purdy. So there you go. Should we roll through these quarterbacks real quick?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's start there. I'm not going to give you all the stats at once. Well, I'll give you the stats. We'll talk about them.
Yeah,
Just keep
yeah,
going. But we're doing all quarterbacks together.
Yeah.
I'm going to start with the Titans and talk about Will Levis. Last season, he averaged 11.8 points per game. He didn't have any top 5 finishes. His current ADP is QB 24, and that's going at an AAV of $1. Last year, he was QB 33. He did miss 8 games, though. But people obviously think he's going to do much better, drafting him at that QB 24 spot. I mean, and looking at this Titans team, they did add Calvin Ridley.
Yeah.
They no longer have Ryan Tannehill, waiting in the background. So Levis essentially has full control of this offense.
Yeah. And yeah, like you said, added Calvin Ridley. They already have DeAndre Hopkins.
Mhm.
I do think, he's up 9 spots after missing 8 games. That seems like it kind of checks out. So you mentioned that,
But he's still only averaged 11.8 points per game.
yeah, I agree with that. Shout out to RD. Is this live on Tuesday? Yes, it is. We had to switch it up.
We did.
Have some plans Thursday, but
Yes, I have
Will Levis,
family in town.
yeah, being drafted ahead of right behind him is Derek Carr. I would take Derek Carr over Will Levis any day. Dan Jones, if you believe in the hype that's starting to build again around Daniel Jones, we had Ryan on last week and said that everybody hates him this year, but he thinks he's going to do all right. I just don't know if I believe in Will Levis. I said that when he got drafted. I was down on the banana eater. And
The black banana.
the
eater.
black banana eater. Yeah, thank you. The mayonnaise and the coffee. I just don't know. I don't think I'm a believer. So in a super flex, am I okay drafting him late in case he does have a good year? Yeah, but in a regular 1 quarterback league, I have no interest in Will Levis.
No, I'm out on him too. In a super flex, I might snatch him up for $1 at some point.
Yeah, for depth. Yeah.
But
Yep.
let's move on to the Jags.
Yes, they have a better
That's
quarterback than
Trevor
Will
Lawrence, who averaged 17.6 points per game. He had 2 top 5 finishes. He's currently going at around an ADP of QB 17 with an AAV of $6. And last year he ranked QB 13, so he's 4 spots back.
Yeah.
He did miss 1 game, but it kind of felt like he was injured for more than that, like 5 or 6 games.
Yeah. And Moneyline and Ryan and I touched on that on the NFL Gambling podcast. It's like, why do they keep playing him? They need to sit him so he can heal, but they never did. And you really could tell that it was bothering him, and he was not playing up to 100%.
Despite that, though, he still finished as QB 13.
Yeah.
People think he's regressing this year.
I guess.
I don't know. He got that major payday.
Yeah.
Especially for someone who has yet to even get close to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
The Jaguars are continuing to build around him. Calvin Ridley, we just mentioned he's with the Titans now. They added Gabe Davis and they drafted Brian Thomas.
He's averaging more per year than Mahomes in his big payday. And that's
crazy to me.
It is crazy. Him and Burrow both got really big paydays. I don't quite understand it. The whole sport, I think just these major contracts that they're giving, it's kind of ruining it a little bit for me. I feel like I'm turning more into Colby, where it's like, gee, why are you paying this guy that much when there are other people out there that can do his job? However, ADP of QB 17 feels too low to me. $6 feels too low in a 1 quarterback league. Even I'm okay with Trevor Lawrence as my starter, and QB 17 and $6, that's below a starter.
You're okay with him for your starter?
Absolutely. He's a top 12 quarterback for me. I'm putting him in my top 12. So
you're putting him as advancing higher than last season?
Yeah.
12.
I am. Guys ahead of him, we have 2 rookies, Caleb Williams and Jaden Daniels, which, we hope they do well, but who knows? Tua, whose health is always a concern. Justin Herbert, who, they gutted the Chargers. Then you do have Jared Goff. You have Brock Purdy. I know those guys are solid for sure. Kyler Murray, Dak Prescott, question marks there. I would take Trevor Lawrence over a lot of those guys I just named, especially when you look at that. He does have Christian Kirk. He does have Evan Engram. Travis Etienne is great out of the backfield. And they added Brian Thomas, who is a really good quarterback. Or wide receiver. Sorry. So I don't know. I think it's too low.
I think at an AAV, I'm definitely going for him.
Yeah.
I think I do agree that seems a little low for him, or right on the money. Maybe. I don't know. For me, because I don't like to spend a ton on quarterbacks.
Right.
That's not where my budget goes.
Right.
That seems pretty sweet. Like to get him at that.
And in the NFL, he hasn't had a ton of rushing yards. He's done okay, but he was kind of a dual threat guy at Clemson. He was a guy that you would watch him and he could take off and get 20, 30 yard rushes. Not like the next guy we're going to talk about necessarily, but still somebody who can run. So it's not like he's just a lawn chair quarterback in the back there. Or Colby Man, I'm hanging out with Colby too much.
What are these terms you're
using? Between the
me?
UFL gambling podcast, the CFL gambling podcast, apparently hanging out with Colby too much.
Apparently. We're going to talk about Anthony Richardson next, then, the guy you're hinting at.
Yeah.
He averaged 18.4 points a game. He had 2 top 5 finishes. His ADP is QB 6. Last year, he was QB 40. He did miss 11 games. That played a huge part in it. So the games he was here, though, he averaged that 18.4 points. He's going at an AAV of $20. So he couldn't finish a game last year.
Literally, I think he only finished 1 game he started.
Maybe.
Yeah,
was it?
Maybe 1.
But he missed 11, and then the other 7, maybe, like you said, that maybe 1. Is his health a concern to you?
Absolutely. I think it has to be. I know it was only his rookie year. I get that. But that's already starting a bad trend. It
makes me nervous, but this guy does have elite rushing ability.
He does. And he also showed flash. Like when he was drafted, I said he's not ready to pass in the NFL. I knew he could run. I said he wasn't ready to pass, but he showed flashes that I mean, jumped off the page, and like I thought, damn, I was wrong. He can pass. But the injury concern is a big deal to me, especially if you end up spending $20 on him. I don't think I could draft him for $20.
Spend $20 on a quarterback that maybe finished one full game last year is a little bit crazy to me. I mean, if he's healthy, a lot of bit crazy. If he's healthy and he, if we can guarantee he's healthy, then yeah, I $20, I don't know, but I would definitely, I would go for him anyway if you could get him.
$20,
but I don't know if I'm comfortable with him as my QB1 on my team because of the injury history all of last season.
Yeah. I mean, if Josh Allen, Jalen Hurts, Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, and CJ Stroud, those are the guys ahead of him. If they're all gone, I might still take though Joe Burrow has an injury thing too. And I like Richardson's upside with his running. So I might be okay drafting him if those 5 quarterbacks are gone.
So at the QB6. So you're saying you would take him at QB6.
Yeah, but there's no way I would spend $20. $20 I feel like is though my max for a quarterback. I don't feel comfortable spending that much.
We are not the people that come to you if you're going to talk about spending a lot of money on a quarterback.
No.
Even and then I don't know, even in Superflex, I still have a hard time. I'm trying to spend more on quarterbacks and Superflexes. I'm learning.
You have to. I mean, quarterback's the most the most important thing in Superflex.
It is.
All right. That's I don't know. The AAV is too high for me, but I don't hate the QB6. I don't hate it because of that rushing, and you just gotta cross all your fingers and toes and hope that he's healthy, stays healthy.
Now, this last guy, my favorite.
Yeah.
He's my guy.
He's your guy.
CJ Stroud. He averaged 18.7 points a game. So just a little bit more than Anthony Richardson. But he played all games but 2.
Yeah.
He had 2 top 5 finishes. His current ADP, we just mentioned, he's going right above Anthony Richardson at that QB5 spot. His AAV is $23. And yeah, last year he came in at QB11. So he was a top 12 last year. I see him staying in the top 12. Absolutely.
Do you see him jumping 6 spots to QB5?
I see him jumping. I would absolutely take him ahead of Anthony Richardson.
Yeah.
He's going, so like you already mentioned, like ahead of him, Josh Allen, Jalen Hurts, Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson.
Yeah.
I don't know. I really like CJ Stroud.
I do too. I worry a little bit. He had such a freak rookie year that I
don't even put that out there.
He did,
don't
though.
say. Well, he was good, but don't even say that it's
about regression, about that sophomore regression. I worry about it.
I don't like that you just said that.
Sorry, I do a little bit, but I'm still taking him.
He's
ahead of one of those guys that's in.
He's got Nico. 4. He's got Tank. They just added Stephon Diggs.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I know.
And they added.
I don't think you listened to me.
They added Joe Mixon.
I said I'm worried about the regression, but I'm still taking him ahead of.
No, I don't like that you even say that you're worried about it.
You're still not listening to me.
I don't want you to.
I'm still going to take him ahead of one of those guys on that list that's going ahead of him. We'll get to that when we do our rankings, but I'm still taking him in my top 4. See, she wasn't hearing what I was saying.
No, but like
y'all are catching on to that now, right? No. She had no idea.
Really?
Yeah.
I just don't like the negativity you're putting out there.
Well,
about a sophomore regression.
It's a legit
concern.
I
don't need that I invested in him.
It's a legit
I don't
concern.
need you to be putting that out there.
Would you spend $23 on him?
I don't have to because I'm going to keep him.
Would you?
But in a super flex, absolutely.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Absolutely.
He's not going that cheap in a super flex.
No. But I have to think about this.
Yeah.
I'd spend 20 on him.
Yeah.
I might do that.
That's fair. That's fair. Yeah, we gotta get to this ad read. So why don't you tell people about a little bit of Underdog Fantasy?
Yes, because we are brought to you by Underdog Fantasy, and Pick 8 is now live for the NHL Finals, CFL, and more. You can create entries with up to 8 picks, and Underdog will automatically double flex entries so you can miss up to 2 picks and still win your entry. With more picks to make and extra ways to win, the excitement is higher than ever. And the best part is you can win up to 325 times your original amount. That's right. You can now use specials and boosts on all flex entries. And make sure to follow our socials for Justin's weekly CFL picks on Underdog. Don't miss your chance to try it out before it's gone.
Yeah, all you got to do is go to Underdog Fantasy and sign up with promo code OFFSGPN to claim your special pick plus first-time deposit offer up to $250 in bonus cash. Underdog Fantasy promo code OFFSGPN. All right, we're back.
Running backs? You ready to move on to running backs?
I am ready to move on. I think we said all we could say on quarterbacks.
Stroud is the man.
Stroud is the man.
Okay.
Oh, we didn't talk about the top and
best
value in that.
We should do that now.
Yeah. Top is, I think was
obviously Stroud.
Yeah.
Best value.
For me, it's Trevor Lawrence at $6.
I think I kind of agree with that. That seems low for him.
I'm not drafting Will Levis. The other two are $20 or more.
Mm-hmm.
$6 or QB 17.
I don't like agreeing with you right now, but yes, I agree with you.
Well, that's a little out of pocket. But
is it out of pocket?
Yeah, it is.
I don't think she was listening to me.
Were you?
I
no
was focused on something else.
So no. No. The answer is no.
Let's start with the Titans, okay? With Tony Pollard, who averaged 11.5 points a game. He had 1 top 5 finish last year. He's currently going at an ADP of RB 29 with an AAV of $18. And last year he was RB 15, so he's like backsliding 14 spots.
Well, different team.
Dallas obviously didn't pay him. He finished in the RB 15 spot as Dallas's main guy.
Yeah.
So that is not going to be the case here with the Titans because they have Tyjae Spears.
Yeah. Now it is possible that Tony Pollard cannot succeed as a main guy. I mean, his best year was when he was an RB2 with Zeke, and then he finished at the top 12. So it's possible that that's the scenario that he excels in. However,
do you think that's going to be the same like style though?
No, Zeke and Spears are not the same type of. I mean, I would argue that Pollard and Spears are more like each other than Zeke and Spears are. So I feel like that they have two backs that are going to kind of conflict with each other
because they're the same type of running
style,
back. I get what you're saying. I was like, wait a second.
Was I not saying it right?
I don't know. Maybe it's me not comprehending.
Guys going right behind Tony Pollard, Raheem Mostert, who is fresh off of being RB2, Austin Eckler and Brian Robinson, who we talked about, Devin Singletary, who's back with Brian Dabble, who we know he had success with. I'm not drafting him. I'm staying away from Tony Pollard completely.
Yeah, I don't know if I want a piece of that. I don't know if I do. I'm going to talk about Tyjae Spears really quick.
Yeah.
He brought in lower, 7.5 points per game last year. Didn't have any top 5 finishes. He's currently going at an ADP of RB 33 with an AAV of $14, so $4 less than Tony Pollard. Last year he was RB 34, so this is kind of around the same spot. And he was playing behind Derrick Henry.
Yeah, he saw the field some, but not a ton. Because you don't take Henry off the field much.
No, and when he did come in, like he looked good as that change of pace for Derrick Henry.
Yeah. I like him.
Were you gonna say that you like him better?
Yeah, I like him better.
I was gonna say I kind of been more interested on this offense in Tyjae Spears than Pollard. I mean, I know Tyjae Spears, like coming off of his rookie season, I know that like the Titans have said they have really high hopes for him. So I'm interested to see where he goes. So I kind of like drafting him over Pollard.
Yeah. Now, honestly, for me, I'm not drafting either of them unless I get them later than what they're going.
Later than RB 33?
Yeah. I don't like either of them unless one of them gets injured. And I hate to put that out in the universe.
Crying out loud.
But if one of them gets injured, then I think the other, especially if it's Pollard and Spears takes over, I think he has good value. But I don't think you're going to get to draft him enough to wait around for that, to have him sit on your bench and wait. So
interesting. Well, let's talk about Travis Etienne.
I'm out on most Titans players.
That's
find
okay.
that out.
It's the Titans.
Yeah.
I mean, I shouldn't say that, but it's the Titans.
It is the Titans.
Travis Etienne averaged 14.9 points per game last season with 5 top 5 finishes. He's currently going at an ADP of RB9 with an AAV of $43. Last year, he was RB3.
Yeah.
Which is crazy. So there's not really any changes here. So why do you think he's being drafted 6 spots back?
Yeah. I mean, I have no answer for that. I mean, if I can get him at RB9, I'm taking him at RB9.
Mm-hmm.
I think he has that potential still to finish in the top, not the top 3, I don't think.
I don't see him as a top 3.
But surely in the top 9. I think that's...
I could see top 10. Not saying that he wouldn't get the 9 spot.
Guys ahead of him, Christian McCaffrey, he's
Mhm.
not beating him. Breece Hall, Bijan Robinson, Jahmyr Gibbs, Jonathan Taylor, Saquon Barkley. I don't like those guys, or I don't like him ahead of those guys.
No, I don't see that either.
But Kyron Williams and Devon Chan, I would take him over both of those guys. He has less shared workload than Devon Chan does, and he catches more passes than Kyron Williams does. So I like his potential more than those two.
I will agree with you. He does have a lot of potential. They do have Tank Bigsby, who was the rookie last year. I think it's hard though to take Etienne off the field.
I agree.
And he doesn't just contribute to the run; he is also contributing to that pass game.
Yeah, for sure. Shout out to Sports Nonsense and Whiskey agreeing. Not sure I want any Titans. Make sure you check us out July 11th when the guys from Sports Nonsense and Whiskey are going to be with us talking about their Broncos in that division. And Jamie's saying hi. How's it going? And real quick, before we keep talking about these running backs, just want to talk about rhythm because, I mean, we're trying to keep our rhythm going, right? And if you're betting on any player props, then you need to download Rhythm. Rhythm gives you a menu of the best player props for every single game, making it easy to go through and find the best props to put your money on in seconds. Rhythm's predictions are backed by over 3 years of data and a team of data scientists and quants that focus on fine-tuning our algorithm to give you the best shot at winning. Trust me, I took quantitative decision-making. It's not easy. Those are smart people. Rhythm pairs its predictions with player prop graphs to help feel even more confident in your picks, which way you can make wherever you're placing your bets or your DFS picks. From superstars to bench players, Rhythm finds the best player prop lines, all backed by AI data without you needing to endlessly scroll through a sportsbook. Rhythm also allows you to create your own custom models so you can get AI-backed moneyline spread and total picks for every playoff game, every finals game, any game. Just start a free 7-day trial and start winning your player props with Rhythm, available wherever you get your apps. All right. Let's talk about these. We got 2 running backs left we want to discuss, you think?
Yeah.
I think 2 more relevant ones.
I'm going to start with the Colts. Jonathan Taylor. He averaged 14.7 points a game last season with 1 top 5 finish. He's currently going around an ADP of RB5.
Yeah. With
an AAV of $50. So last year he was ranked RB33. Now he missed 7 games. So like I said, he averaged that 14.7 points a game. He struggled with those injuries last year. And I don't know. I think what am I trying to say here? I think that he second best in this division, I would say, behind Etienne.
Yeah.
Last year. And
last year points per game wise. Yeah.
Prior to last year's injuries, though, he was in conversations for RB1.
Yeah, I saw him go RB1 in a lot of leagues that I'm in.
I don't think I can see him surpassing guys like CMC and Bijan. I
agree with that. Can you see him passing like the other ones? Jahmyr Gibbs, Breece Hall. Those are the other 2 guys going ahead of him. I think I could. Jahmyr Gibbs for sure. I know you love Jahmyr Gibbs, but he's still in a shared workload with David Montgomery. Where Jonathan Taylor, he's the guy. Now, the problem being we need to see him with a healthy Anthony Richardson because will Anthony Richardson take too many yards or too many touchdowns in the red zone away from him because of his rushing ability? we didn't get to see that because they were both injured often last year. You know?
It was a tough season for them last year.
Yeah. So I don't know.
$50. I don't know if I can do $50.
Yeah. I mean,
would you do 50?
I think 50 is a touch high. He's very talented, but we don't have enough games to see what he is like with Anthony Richardson also running.
I need to see that, like, to feel confident. I like to feel confident coming after off of my drafts, and I just don't know how confident I would feel if I budgeted a fourth of my budget on Anthony Richardson, and I don't know what that's gonna, if we're gonna have a healthy Anthony Richardson. I don't know if Jonathan Taylor is gonna be healthy. Like, it's just.
Yeah, I mean, I'm
a little
okay.
Scary to me.
I'm okay taking him at RB5. I'm okay with that.
Just the $50.
But the $50 scares me off a little. But I don't think I think in a lot of auction leagues, he may not go to that because people are going to be a little worried about those injuries.
I think maybe in like some of our leagues, that's what he's going right now. Averaging.
Right,
he's averaging that right now.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I know.
So you're saying, I think in a lot of leagues, well, what are you talking about? Because right now his average is 50.
Right. Yeah.
You mean our personal?
I mean, like our personal leagues, I feel like we're going to see somewhere.
In our personal leagues, half the stuff we say on, like, we say doesn't happen because our friends are crazy. Just going to say that.
We do have some crazy friends. Let's talk about the Texans' new running back.
Let's talk about
As Miranda insulted our friends and they're
sorry
dropping
guys,
off.
I love you, but Joe Mixon, he averaged 14.2 points a game last season with one top 5 finish. He came in at RB5 and he's currently going at an ADP of RB15 with an AAV of $25. So, he was traded from the Bengals to the Texans. I really don't think this is too much of a downgrade. It's kind of a similar style offense.
Yeah, I mean, they pass the ball a lot, much like the Bengals.
And they still focus on the run.
Yeah.
Is this a better offense than the Bengals?
I mean, I think it is. I think they're going to move the ball better. You're talking about 3 wide receivers who can get the job done now, which is only going to open up the run game, right?
And CJ Stroud.
And yeah, CJ Stroud's very good. My biggest concern, I mean, he's dropping from, he finished RB5. He's dropping 10 spots to RB15. I think that's dropping him too far. The thing is, they do want to get Chase Brown involved. Or Chase Brown's on the Bengals.
Yeah, I was like, he's not.
That's who he was competing with.
He was competing.
Never
with
mind.
Chase Brown.
Scratch that. But no, I don't understand the drop 10 spots. I know it's a different team, but it's still Joe Mixon. I mean, this is a guy that continues to produce. Yeah, he's been a little inconsistent more recently, but he still finished RB5. I mean,
I am gonna say that I like getting him in the RB15 spot. If I can get him there, I like it.
Of course. Guys going just ahead of him: James Cook, Rashad White, Isaiah Pacheco, Josh Jacobs. I think I would take him ahead of at least 3 of those 4.
Josh Jacobs being one of them.
No,
I
don't know.
You don't know.
I need to think about that. That's one.
So maybe you're like, maybe not.
James Cook, Rashad White, and Isaiah Pacheco.
Yeah.
I would take them above for sure.
Yes.
So, best running back in the division. That's tough to me.
Oh, that is tough. Silence.
Well, I'm going to go with ETN.
I was just going to say that because I thought you were going to say
right,
Jonathan Taylor. You go Jonathan Taylor.
I was stuck between them.
I was going to say ETN just because of my hesitation with Jonathan Taylor.
And his
not
injuries.
saying, yeah, Jonathan Taylor is obviously seriously talented, but I feel like we've had this conversation before.
Yeah.
About him. We got into, it's Jonathan Taylor.
Right.
I would go ETN because I think that he's reliable. He's going to be the reliable one.
Right. Yeah, agreed. And Travis Etienne is almost the best value, getting at RB9. I don't think he finishes that low. I think he's going to be at least a couple spots above that. But I also like Mixon.
I'm going to say Mixon is my value.
Yeah. And Sports Nonsense Whiskey pointing out Texans didn't run the ball well and their O-line didn't change much. I think part of that was Singletary. I don't think he fit in that well. And I think Mixon's going to do better catching the ball out of the backfield than Singletary did. So that's why I kind of like where he went. And I like him better. So should we talk about wide receivers?
Let's do this.
All right.
Let's start with DeAndre Hopkins, who brought in an average of 10.9 points per game last season with 2 top 5 finishes. He finished at wide receiver 22, and he's currently going at an ADP of 37 with an AAV of $1.
Real quick, just to interrupt you.
Uh-huh.
2 top 5 finishes, but finished wide receiver 22, I think speaks to the inconsistencies of having Will Levis throw the ball to you. I'm just saying.
I mean, I think this offense has a lot of
growing pains. We'll say that.
growing pains,
Yeah.
improvement needed. And also, like, looking at DeAndre Hopkins, he has more competition this year with Calvin Ridley. He's still DeAndre Hopkins. You're not going to quote me saying DeAndre Hopkins is DeAndre Hopkins. But is time ticking for him? He's definitely, in my opinion, past his prime. He's not in that 26 sweet spot anymore. He's
Right.
31. Is he going to start to slow at some point? And are we going to see that this season?
I mean, I think so. I think you saw it a little bit last season. Maybe it was more Will Levis, but I also think his ADP and AAV reflect that. Wide receiver 37, $1. To me, with a guy that has as much talent as he does, it's worth that stab. I mean, wide receiver 37 is low, in my opinion. Guys ahead of him, Jaden Reed, who I think he'll do better than. I guess there are a lot of. I'm reading names now and like, oh, I would take that guy over. I would take that guy. But I do. I mean, if you're looking at wide receiver 37, that's not even your third wide receiver in a 12-person league.
It's your
It's
fourth.
going to fourth. Yeah. High-end fourth. I think that's what Hopkins is. He's a high-end fourth bench guy that in your bye weeks, you do
throw
feel
him in a
comfortable throwing
flex
him in. Yeah.
sometime. I guess I could see that. And I want to talk about Calvin Ridley too. He averaged more points per game last season with 11.3. He had 1 top 5 finish. He finished as wide receiver 17, which is lower than you had him. Didn't you have him in?
I had him as finishing in the top 5.
You did. You crazy person. Okay.
I got tricked by that route running video when no defense was on him, like training camp. Like, oh,
anyone looks
routes.
good against a
No, like they
non-defense.
compared him to other people, and it's like,
Yeah.
man, he looks so fluid. Didn't matter.
No, he's currently going at an ADP of wide receiver 36 with an AAV of $10.
Make it make sense. Only 1 spot higher than DeAndre Hopkins, but $9 more. No thanks.
It's a little odd. He took a lesser paying contract to leave the Jags and play for the Titans, and
because he said he believed he could take over.
He thinks he can be their number 1 guy.
Yeah.
I don't know. And but it's Will Levis throwing to him.
Right.
Do you think that Levis can support both of these guys? Do you think
No.
he can support Calvin Ridley and DeAndre Hopkins?
I'm not even sure he can support one of them necessarily.
We got to talk about this.
But yeah, no, I just,
Mhm.
maybe the auction nerds are just in love with Calvin Ridley like I was last year, but I'm not spending $10 on him. If he's $1 like DeAndre Hopkins, sure. I might go up to 5 because he's a younger dude.
It is really interesting to me that DeAndre Hopkins, that ADP of 37, right behind Calvin Ridley, going for $1, and you'd have to spend right now $10 for Ridley.
Yeah.
I don't get that.
I'm also he's 29. He's not that much younger than Hopkins. He's 29. I know he has less mileage because
he's still
sat
in
out.
his 20s.
Yeah, I know.
Come on, you hit 30. You know what hitting 30 was like. You like fell
It was
apart.
all downhill from there. Yeah, but I'm also not a football player. He does have less mileage because he took a year off. He was suspended for a year, like all that stuff. But anyways, real quick, shout out to Josiah. He says, "What's up? What's going on, man?"
Hey, Josiah. I don't know why I said it like that, but hey.
And he thinks you're being harsh by saying I fell apart after my 30s.
Hello.
Let's talk about.
Do you not remember? Do we have to get into Justin's injury history? Every single year, you had this major.
We don't have that kind of.
You had a major injury that led you to being like just out for
Yeah, well,
months.
the injury bug hits some of us. I mean,
The injury bug?
yeah.
No. All right, let's talk about Christian Kirk with the Jags. He had 10.1 points per game on average last season, no top 5 finishes. His current ADP is wide receiver 31 with an AAV of $15. Last year he was wide receiver 47. He did miss 5 games. Christian Kirk is a reliable target. He's a go-to for Lawrence when he's healthy.
Mm-hmm.
I think that he can especially be valuable in PPR leagues.
Yeah.
But do we think that Brian Thomas is going to come in and take too much away from Kirk?
I don't think so. Just because I'm saying Trevor Lawrence is being undervalued. I think he can support both of them, to be honest. And I love Christian Kirk. I think he is a really good football player, and he's a sneaky fantasy football player. I mean, wide receiver 31, I think he's better than that. The $15 feels about right, though.
Well,
it's weird how these guys are evaluated.
It is interesting because you go 31 and you got to spend $15, jumped 5 spots back, Calvin Ridley at $10, and then at wide receiver 37, DeAndre Hopkins for $1.
Yeah, so a lot of those guys just clumped together is what that's telling me.
Yeah. So just to talk about Brian Thomas for a second, he's currently going at the wide receiver 49 spot with an AAV of $1.
Steal.
I do think this is a steal, especially in keeper leagues.
Yeah, and he probably won't go that in a keeper league, but yeah.
He might.
Well, he might.
Oh, he might. Maybe not our keeper leagues, but I think he has a chance at putting up the most I'm just going to say it, wide receiver yards by a rookie.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree with that. I mean, I know there are some good rookies. This was a great draft class, but yeah, I think he's falling into a really good situation.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
If you look at his college career at LSU, very good in 2023, most touchdowns in the FBS. I mean, this is a guy who is used to performing at a high level. $1 is a steal. Wide receiver 49 is a steal. In best ball drafts, I'm getting this guy almost every time because he's going so low. He's really good. I'm a big Brian Thomas fan. I'm an advocate for Brian Thomas.
You're an advocate?
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about the Colts quick. We've got Michael Pittman, who averaged 12.2 points per game last season, no top 5 finishes. His current ADP is wide receiver 16 with an AAV of $14. Now, this is really weird to me, too. He's going at 16 for $14, but Christian Kirk at wide receiver 31 for 15.
Make it make sense.
We've seen this, like,
I know,
and we're pulling the data. Like, we are like, this is the average that people are going for.
Yeah, our ADP is straight from Fantasy Pros. The AAV is straight from Sleeper. So don't blame us if it doesn't make sense.
Yeah, we don't make this shit up. We just give you the data. So anyway, last year he finished data. Let's not have this argument right now. Last year he finished as wide receiver 15, missing 1 game. I don't know. What are you thinking? Like he did that without Anthony Richardson for most of the season.
Tell you exactly what I'm thinking.
Okay.
I am thinking that Michael Pittman is a top 12 wide receiver fantasy football wise this year. And I think wide receiver 16 is a steal. I think you need to get him before that. And I'd spend the $14 too. I think he's incredibly talented. I think if AR-15 is healthy, hopefully he stays healthy, that he's a steal and he's going to have a great year. But I gotta make sure I'm right here. If AR-15 is hurt, who steps in for him? None other than Joe fucking Flacco.
Oh my God. Yes. Okay.
I'm not concerned about him getting hurt anymore. They got Joe Flacco, who looked really good last year for the Browns. I mean,
yeah, I was going to say, what wasn't Joe Flacco? He's just he's a floater.
I know. Now, but
he comes in and he does like these amazing things when he comes
there's some jokes there about Joe Flacco playing for the Browns and being a floater. There's some controversy with Joe Flacco right now because he won Comeback Player of the Year award.
As he should have.
Right. And now the NFL is saying, hey, when you're voting on this, people that vote on this, the AP voters, try to keep in mind that comeback player of the year is somebody who went through an injury or a really bad, had to come back from something really bad, not somebody who was irrelevant, played their asses off and did really well, because Joe Flacco won it over DeMar Hamlin. DeMar Hamlin, who played 10 snaps or something. I get that it's great that DeMar Hamlin lived and came back, if he really lived, and that's not a double. There's that conspiracy too. But
yes,
but how do you give it to a guy who played 10 snaps versus Joe Flacco, who looked really good? And
we
was
were
sitting on
like
his
losing our
couch?
minds last season.
Yeah.
With this, and we were saying Joe Flacco again. Like he
I know.
runs or throws a lot.
He did.
How many times? It was crazy. And yeah, it was a Joe Flacco.
I'm in on
time.
Pittman. They also have Josh Downs, who had some good games last year, but I'm not as excited about him as their rookie Adonai Mitchell. I think he could be sneaky good, so keep an eye out for him. Let's catch up with the chat real quick. Sports Nonsense Whiskey, Kirk is going to be sneaky good. Flacco would make Mitchell look better than Pittman. Jamie checking in, what's up, peeps? The Hamlin double only played 2 snaps, so yeah. And Flacco come back from the dead. See, he did. He was sitting on his couch, drinking his beer.
I think
got a call.
He absolutely deserved that award.
Yeah.
I don't think it should be. I just should keep my mouth shut. I don't think it should be a sympathy award.
Now, I do still think that I don't think Joe Flacco should have won it. I think Baker Mayfield should have won it, to be honest. Mayfield played all season. Flacco played the last 6 or 7 games. I think Baker Mayfield exceeded the accomplishments of coming back, but either one of them, not DeMar Hamlin.
Flacco blew everybody's minds with his talent at the end of last season.
Baker Mayfield was floating from roster to roster as well. He was on the Rams and got cut. He was here and there, and then
he finally landed. He landed in the spot where he needed to be,
and then got paid
Joe
$100
Flacco
million.
came back from the dead. We didn't even know he was still playing. Okay,
that's fair. That's fair. All right. Let's talk about these Texans wide receivers.
I love my Texans. Save the best for last.
I
in
do
my
too,
opinion.
but I'm conflicted here. Let's get into
you
it.
can be conflicted. Nico Collins averaged 14.7 points a game last season. He had 4 top 5 finishes. He came in at wide receiver 9. He's currently going at an ADP of wide receiver 13 with an AAV of $18. That's crazy.
Yeah.
The $18 is kind of crazy to me where he's going. So just to talk about this offense, like I said earlier, they added in Stephon Diggs. So you're really kind of choosing between who you think the top guy is between all these guys, who you think the top is going to be. I think that his stock was really elevated by CJ Stroud. Yeah. And I don't think that that's going to go anywhere. It's just, I think the biggest question for me, as much as Stroud is my man, can he support these 3 talented wide receivers? Can he support 3 of them?
I think he can support them football wise,
fantasy wise.
But fantasy wise,
can he do it and make them fantasy relevant?
See, this is why I'm conflicted on it. I do like Nico better than Stephon Diggs. And you also have Tank Dell to consider. You also have Joe Mixon catching passes out of the backfield. But to me, this is going to end up being one of those things where you're trying to pick who's going to pop off this week. Because one week it's going to be Nico. The next it's going to be...
It's an offense now that has too many weapons, a
lot of mouths to feed.
Legitimate weapons.
Yeah. And maybe it's a thing where Collins, Tank, and Diggs can all finish in, let's say, the top 24. Maybe. For sure, 2 of them could. It's just every week I think it's going to be a headache of, is Nico popping off, or is this a Diggs game, or is Tank Dell going to come out of nowhere for this one? Are they all going to split and finish with 9 points each?
Well, I'm going to tell you, I'm not missing a piece of it.
No, I
don't want to miss a piece of it.
Yeah, I get that. I think you have to think about grabbing one of them for sure. I get that. for me, just my ranking of that. Well, let's talk about all of them first.
Yeah. So Tank Dell averaged 12.9 points a game, 2 top 5 finishes, came in at wide receiver 38, but he missed 7 games. He's currently going at an ADP of wide receiver 29 with an AAV of $13. Stephon Diggs averaged 13 points a game with 3 top 5 finishes. Last year, he was wide receiver 10, currently an ADP of wide receiver 20 with an AAV of $14. These wide receiver AAV, like their average auction values are all messed up to me. It's just a jumble. Like
Blame sleeper, not me.
It's weird. Okay, so let's go back to your opinions on these that you were going to say.
First of all, I mean, the big news kind of that Tank Dell was coming back from his terrible leg injury last year, and then he got
his
shot.
ACL.
And then he got shot.
A couple months ago.
Yeah, but he's running routes already. He's supposed to be good. For Diggs, show me the last 30-plus-year-old wide receiver on his third team that was able to continue to have the same success. He's this prima donna guy. I think after the first game or first 2 games of him not having the majority targets, he's going to throw a bit of a fit. I mean, he threw a fit when Josh Allen only targeted him 10 times. That's a lot of damn targets. And now you're competing with these other 3. For me, it's Nico, and then it's Tank, and I'm staying away from Diggs. I think he's going to have a mental breakdown. I seriously think the Vikings got rid of him because he started this whole I'm not important enough, blah, blah, blah. And they said, okay, see you later. And then he did okay for the Bills for a second there. And then last year he started all this fuss about, oh, you're not doing this. You're not doing that. You're not throwing it to me. I can't win the games on my own, blah, blah, blah. And they're like, okay, see you later. So I don't think that the Texans are going to put up with it.
Well, this is not I can't win the games on my own. He is coming into an offense that
I'm taking Nico. If he's not there,
I
Tank.
Absolutely, out of all 3 of them, even over Stephon Diggs, would take Nico.
Yeah. And then you're taking Diggs over Tank?
They average the same.
Yeah. True.
And they average the same.
It really comes down to, I think Stephon's going to be vocal about, I need my targets. I want the ball to me.
I don't want drama on this offense. I need them to just perform for me.
Stephon Diggs is drama. That's what he is.
Oh, I don't know. Top overall wide receiver with all these guys.
For me, it's Michael Pittman. I know the Texans are great wide receivers, but I think there's too many mouths to feed. It's Michael Pittman for me. I love his ceiling this year.
I'm going with Nico.
I knew you would.
It is. Yeah, I know there's too many mouths to feed, but the chemistry between Nico and Stroud is there. It's not going away.
Yeah.
Yes, there will be more options, but no, Nico.
Chat, let us know if you will take Pittman or Nico. Say you're on the clock and it's one of them. Which one are you taking? Now while they're doing that, best value.
I have to look at these values again because my God, are they all over the board?
Easy for me.
I know you're going Brian Thomas.
I am going Brian Thomas. I love Brian Thomas this year. And ADP wise, I like Christian Kirk too at wide receiver 31. Sports Nonsense Whiskey says Nico. Going with Nico. So he's taking your side. I've noted this.
He's taking your side.
I have noted this, and it will be discussed. No, I'm just kidding.
No, I can't take Pittman over Nico.
For value. You could make an argument Pittman is good value at wide receiver 16. In my opinion. I know.
$14 for Pittman or $13 for Nico. 18. Sorry. $18. I'd spend $4 more and get Nico. Best value here. I don't know. Brian Thomas for $1. That is something I would totally do if later on or at any point in an auction if I could get him for $1. What do you think though about I don't know. We're thinking here.
You're thinking here.
DeAndre Hopkins is also $1.
Right. But he also has Will Levis.
And he also is.
Whereas Brian Thomas is a young buck, a little rookie guy, with Trevor Lawrence thrown to him. So You
I
just
need
don't wanna
Jeopardy
agree with
music.
him. Do, 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 do. Make your answer now, right now.
Right now?
Right now. Answer it.
The
bosses are going to yell at us for taking too much time again.
God.
Make your answer now.
I don't know. Nico, I still think Nico is a great value at $18. I'm just going
He's
with
your
Nico.
best one and your best value. Okay.
I can't get away from him.
All right.
Let's talk about these tight ends. We've got.
Can I just jump in real quick?
Yeah.
I don't think we need to talk about Chigoziem Okonkwo.
Thank you for saying it. I was like, Chigo.
Chigo. Oh, that's what a lot of people say. Chigoziem Okonkwo. I don't think we need.
I can say Okonkwo.
He has
but
hype.
I always second guess myself.
He has hype every year. He never lives up to it. I don't think we need to talk about him. Jelani Woods on the Colts. I don't think he's worth drafting.
Wait, is the Okonkwo having hype this year?
Every
year.
There
hype? There's no.
No.
He came in at tight end 22. Like, just no.
Yeah, no.
Nope.
Those guys are done.
Yes, and Jelani Woods, I agree. Like, not worth drafting. Stay away from him.
There's two guys.
I want to talk about Evan Ingram.
Talk about Evan Ingram
for the Jags.
Yeah.
Last year he came in at tight end 2, and I've just got to throw that out there because that was surprising to me. He averaged 10.2 points a game. He didn't have any top 5 finishes.
No.
Which
just to finish tight end 2 means he was consistently good.
His current ADP is tight end 7 with an AAV of $9. He is 29 years old, but I still think he's a very reliable target. They have, Christian Kirk, Brian Thomas, Travis Etienne, and they have Evan Ingram. I think that they're also gonna I still see Ingram being a relevant tight end for fantasy football.
Yeah.
And somebody you should be drafting if you're not getting.
Would you draft him over? I'm not even going to talk about Sam Laporta and Travis Kelce. I know you wouldn't. Would you draft him over any of these guys? Because these are the ones ahead of him. Trey McBride, Mark Andrews, Dalton Kincaid, Kyle Pitts.
Well, get Pitts out of the list. I don't want to hear Pitts' name.
Well, he's going at tight end 6, one spot ahead of Evan Ingram.
Okay, well, I don't draft below tight end 4 or 5.
All right, fair
enough.
Oh my goodness.
Well, and now we're talking about Ingram being tight end 7. I do draft my backup in the top 10 though. I am. If you're look at
tight end hoarder,
I am the tight end hoarder. There's only one tight end position, and it can make and break your leagues. The league I have already done this.
In most of our leagues, you can flex tight end or put your tight end in your flex. So if you have 2 top 10s, that can really help you. I like him above the tight end 7. I think that he has good value at $9 too. I don't think he's going to be tight end 2 again.
No, I don't.
But
I don't know if I see that.
I do think that he has the potential to be a top 5 tight end. His ceiling is top 5.
Yes.
Sports Nonsense Whiskey says she likes her tight ends. Can't fault a lady for that.
Nope. All right,
she is the tight end expert.
Let's talk about Dalton Schultz for the Texans. Last season, he averaged 8.1 points a game with no top 5 finishes. He's going at a current ADP of tight end 14 with an AAV of $6. And last year, he was a top 12. He came in at tight end 11. And I just want to point that out. He is going at the tight end 14 for $6. Just $3 less at that position.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think bringing in Diggs means less targets go. Obviously there's more mouths to feed on this offense. We just got done talking about this.
Right.
But I think that of the targets, I do think Schultz is going to be the one who is impacted the most.
Yeah. It's I'm going to call it the Cole Kmet factor. It's exactly like what we said about Cole Kmet. Is he going to be a good football player and contribute to the team? Yes. Is he going to contribute fantasy football wise? Probably not. Might have some weeks here and there.
I was just going to say, I think he's a guy where you could, here's a guy. Sorry.
Now here's a guy.
Just heard that.
Calm down, Chris Collinsworth.
I think he's a guy who you could rely on when you need to on a bye week or something, or you have an injury, you could pick him up. I don't know. I agree. I don't think I see him in the top 12.
Yeah. Now, Sports Nonsense Whiskey, Love Schultz disagrees with us. That's okay.
It is okay.
You can have him. For me, I'm just, the Texans in general love the offense. I'm just a little worried at trying to guess what it's going to look like before I see it. I'm worried about guessing how it's going to look. So I want Joe Mixon, I want CJ Stroud, and I will take Nico. But after that, I'm just a little concerned.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Best value, best overall for me, both is Evan Ingram.
100% agree. Tight end 7, $9. Oh, I wonder if they heard that pop. That really popped.
It did. Getting ahead of yourself there.
I know. But yeah, Evan Ingram for sure. Double pop. All right. Let's get right to the whiskey, because that's what you can hear me getting to if you heard the pop.
So we've already done a lot of history and background on Balcones. We also had them on the show with us back on episode 109. We had Alex from Balcones. So sorry. On with us, and we
really cool guy.
Yes, show the bottle. This is a sweet bottle.
We need to do RD's thing.
We do.
We're not doing that.
We like our Balcones whiskey. I call it the taste of Texas in a bottle. It just has, every one of their whiskeys has this, like, I don't know if it's kind of
a little bit of a Texas funk.
Yeah.
But in a good way, not in a bad way.
And it's very identifiable. Yeah. Like for me, I can identify a Texas whiskey because of them. Like I just can.
Sorry, real quick to interrupt you. I know you're talking to America here.
I'm talking to America here.
But I'm trying to think who it was. We were talking with somebody about whiskeys. What's your favorite whiskeys?
Mm-hmm.
Intentional grounding, offense number 7. It's a 10-yard penalty. I'm talking to America here, excuse me. It's a 10-yard penalty and a...
Sorry, we hadn't played that in a while. I'm talking to America here. Excuse me. I know you're talking to America here. It was Josh. It was you said to somebody, I'm beginning to notice I really like Texas whiskeys. And our buddy Josh goes, ew. So it's not for everybody. That Texas funk.
No,
everybody.
I love it. And it stands out. I love drinking it neat on the rock, or not on the rocks, just neat. I don't really drink whiskey on the rocks anymore. Why was I going there? I love drinking it neat, or it in any cocktail you put it in, it stands out. It has this smokiness.
Yeah, all of them do.
Mm-hmm.
Well, their rye does, and this does.
Yes. Almost tobacco-y.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this one I think for sure has that tobacco-y.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, jumping ahead of myself with that.
Like I said earlier, we're drinking the Balcones Brimstone, and please go back, check out our interview with Alex from Balcones. We had a good time with him back on episode 109.
Super smart dude too.
They were our first Texas distillery.
No, they were the first Texas distillery.
They were also our first.
Yeah, well, that's true.
They were the first. Okay, the first Texas distillery. They were our first Texas whiskey we had on, in our first Texas.
We need to get our map up.
I was just gonna say, we've been trying to go and get a distillery from every state.
Yeah, we need to get the map up to help us track that.
For Texas, it's been Balcones.
Yeah.
But they began distilling back in 2009. They're very detail oriented behind everything involved, from the science of the distilling down to choosing the wood for the casks. And this Brimstone in particular, which you smelled and tasted already.
Yeah.
It's a one of a kind whiskey that's smoked with sun-baked Texas scrub oak, using their own secret process. And secret, we don't know what it is. It's secret.
However, he talked about how their distiller will go through the wood piles where everything is held, where they get their wood from, and he will pick certain ones, okay, this one has been in the sun just the right amount and stuff like that. Just fascinating stuff.
Yes. And the result from that is a whiskey full of fresh, youthful, corn and light fruit notes, married with that bold smokiness we talked about.
And there is a lot of smokiness.
So,
yeah,
that is what I smell. I smell tobacco.
See, I taste the tobacco a lot,
but I'm smelling it. I haven't tasted it.
I smell smokiness. I don't know. When you smell this, don't you want to just sit by a campfire? I do. I'm just I want to sit by this.
Is that a plum?
I don't know.
My
nose is not the best.
Plum or apricot? I don't know.
Apricot?
I don't think it's apricot.
Do you say apricot instead of apricot?
Apricot. You say ape? What?
Apricot.
Ape?
Yeah,
Apricot?
it's an apricot.
Apricot.
Hmm.
What's wrong with you?
Pecan ranch. Speaking of pecans, I think there's a little bit of nuttiness with it. I don't know. There's so much smokiness and tobacco-iness, but in such a good way. And it's got some spice to it. I feel like there's definitely some little peppery spice
and heat.
Yeah, it is good.
But yeah, you get all of that. This is the one.
Yeah.
It's very complex. There's a lot to this, and I want to look at this quick.
It's very good. The tobacco and the smokiness is what stands out the most, and then the spice. The finish is very smoky as well. I feel like I just took kind of a little puff off of a cigar. But like a sweet tobacco, not like a cigar. It's sweet. Like a sweet tobacco.
It is a little sweet.
Yeah.
The sweet comes after. Like that's what I'm saying.
Like the finish, it feels like I just took a puff on one with that finish, but it is a sweet tobacco flavor.
I feel like the smoke hits you first, then all the spice, and then the sweet.
Campfire drink, don't you think? Does this just make you think of a campfire?
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah.
On a hot summer night.
Yeah, well, you smell the smoke. You got a little sweetness from your burnt marshmallow. Mine are burnt. Yours aren't.
Yours are singed. Yours are non-existent.
Scroll through our shorts and you can hear all about me eating ash. Ash, as in around the marshmallow. Don't get that twisted, people. Come on. And you said you like to get it till it's just perfect.
Golden brown, and then you can peel it like a shell, and you have a fresh marshmallow underneath, and you can roast it again. And no, I keep roasting it. I peel layers off of my marshmallows.
Well, you said eat the innards in our earlier thing. Shout out to Mom and Dad that got me this for Christmas, I believe. I think it was Christmas. Birthday. I don't remember. One of the two. So shout out to my parents for that. It's very good. It is made from their roasted blue corn, which Jerry Jones was a fan of. Alex got to do a tasting with the Jones family, and they all liked the blue corn whiskey that they have. That's like their base whiskey that they started with. They also have a pot still bourbon. They have their Texas rye. They have the Brimstone.
really like their rye.
Yeah.
It is a go-to for me.
Yeah, it is very good. And oftentimes when we're going to have a glass of whiskey and I ask you, what do you want? That's what you like to go to for sure.
We're running out.
We are. They have a single malt. And these guys are single malt fans. So everything they make, they kind of say it's whiskey through a single malt lens, even if their bourbon is a single malt or is a bourbon through a single malt lens. Go check them out. They have a lot of good stuff. I really want to try. They have the Lineage, and then they have a Guadalajara, something like that.
Guadalajara?
No, it's a
what?
I'll have to look it up.
Okay, you'll have to look that up. They're also located in Waco, Texas, and I really want you to take me there anyway.
Yeah.
For Chip and Joanna. So we need to just make a vacation out of it.
All right. No,
we have to drive down there so I can drive everything I buy.
Yikes. Let's fly. Sorry, we can't take that home.
No, I have wanted to go there to the silos. Oh, for so long. Anyway.
For so long.
So long, Justin.
I have a feeling that you will be able to find stuff that you want. Cataleja. No hara in there. Cataleja. I was close. Not close at all. Cataleja. They also did, I'm trying to remember, they did a really cool Eclipse thing with the Eclipse. They released a special release then that was called Eclipse. But that's the whiskey. Go check out Balcones. Check out some Brimstone if you like a smokier whiskey. Should we do our best bets? The show is ended, but we have best bets left.
Let's do it. Can I kick us off?
Yeah, we need to make this like... eventually, this is going to be like, we'll have a little video where it's like you're going to a speakeasy and only special people get the best bets. Now, it is everybody that sticks around, but only the special people.
Yes. Okay, Justin. Only the special people. What, are you going to decide who's special?
No, I said everybody, but only the special people. We changed this a little bit because we've been giving out 2.
Mm-hmm.
We have a lock and a dog because we started thinking like we can't give out all these like huge dogs for every bet. Let's do some that are a little more reasonable.
Okay. Yeah.
And the dog.
Yep.
So, anyways, kick
I
it
know.
off with the lock.
Yeah, my lock. They gave CJ Stroud more weapons with Stephon Diggs and Joe Mixon. So I'm going to look at his passing yards, and the over under is 150 and a half.
Yeah, 4,150 and a half yards.
Mm-hmm. Sorry, I was not reading that right over here. Yes.
150 and a
like
half.
his yards. I was like, wait, what was I choosing here? No, so the over under is that but I'm all on CJ Stroud, and I'm gonna go with
Yeah, you said he was your man. I'm
yes,
worried
I'm
you're
going
too
with
much on him.
overage on his yards.
I'm sorry, did you say overage?
The overage.
The overage.
I'm going over on his yards this season. It's the whiskey. It's got me. Never mind. Anyway. Can I just get through this?
Please do.
They've got him more weapons. I think that he's going to have more, more targets, more options for throwing. I'm going over. It's juiced right now to negative 125. But I've said this before when I do my bets, as Cody says, you only pay the juice if you lose.
Sorry, Cody.
So, Justin talked about Stroud in his sophomore, whatever he's talking about.
Slump.
I'm not putting that out there after having such, his good rookie season. I'm saying he's going to continue on that path. He had 4,108 last year. So I think he's going to easily hit that 4,150 and a half.
Yeah, I like that. Like I said, CJ Stroud's one that I do like. I'm just worried about how it's going to be distributed, but I'm not worried about the fact necessarily that he's going to distribute it. I did say that I was a little worried about the regression, but I still had him in my top 4. Come on now. Real quick, interrupt before my lock. Jamie Parag, or I hope I said your last name right. One of our top listeners, become one of the top listeners here, made some awesome trades in his Dynasty League. Traded the 111 for Baker Mayfield instead of drafting Bo Nix. Love that.
Mm-hmm.
I know Bo Nix probably could have a great career in the long run, but Baker Mayfield, I mean, he's going to be around for a while. They're giving him $100 million. He also got Pearsall at 211. I like that. Then traded the 311 and a 2025 third for Roman Wilson, who I think is going to have a good year. Even right away, I feel like he's got sneaky value. And then finally traded the 411 and 2025 fourth for Corley. So some damned good trades there. Wheeling and dealing. Love to see that. And I think, in my opinion, we're on the winning end of both or all of those, not both, all of them.
Mm-hmm.
So good job there. All right. I'll talk about my lock now. My lock, Jaguars over under wins is set at 8.5. And that seems low to me for a team that has hit 9 the past 2 years. They went 9-8 last season, and towards the end of the season, we already talked about it. Lawrence wasn't fully healthy, and I feel like he struggled some, and it cost them some games. I mean, Ryan and I kept talking about it on the NFL Gambling Pod. We said we're not betting the Jaguars if Trevor Lawrence isn't going to get to sit. I think the defense has gotten a little bit better, and I think if they stay healthy, they're still going to get that 9 or 10 wins. That's minus 110. I love the over on that because I think that they get the 9 easily. I think people are sleeping on the Jags a little bit, I feel like.
All right. You ready for my dog?
Yeah.
All right.
Dog.
I am, for this one, I'm looking at the AFC exact order. And
those are fun, by the way.
Yes. And I'm going to do this in a safe way, maybe a safe way to make money. I agree that the Jags are being devalued just because the Texans were so good. And so I think that you could look at this, take it 2 different ways and still win money. So my exact finishing order are the Texans, the Jags, the Colts, and the Titans. And that is currently at plus 600. But I also I think it could be close with the Jags and the Texans. So I don't mind pairing it with also taking an exact order of the Jags, the Texans, the Colts, and the Titans.
So either way, you got Colts, Titans at 3 and 4.
I do.
And then
And
just
that
flipping.
second option I just listed is at plus 850.
Okay.
And so if the Colts and Titans are 3rd and 4th in the division, like I think they're going to be, you can still make money if you take both. If you take the both of either the top 2 are the Texans and the Jags.
Yeah.
I think I'm biased and like I want it to be Texans, Jags, then Colts and Titans. But I do think that that the Jags are being undervalued. So I do think it could be close. So I don't mind doing both because you'd still win.
Yeah, no, and I agree with that. I like that approach. And I agree that Colts and Titans will finish 3rd and 4th. I feel that way as well. And if you're not familiar with betting and you're like plus 600, plus 850, what's that mean? $10 plus 600 is going to win you 60 plus your 10 back. So $70. $10 at plus 850 is going to win you 85 plus your 10 back. So 95. So if Colts and Titans finish 3rd and 4th, you're betting, let's say $20 because you're doing 10 on each. You're either making $70 or you're making 95. So you're still profiting because you're only putting in 20. So you either have a $50 or a $75 profit.
What?
Where did I confuse you?
If I'm doing both, that's not how I did my math.
If you're doing 10 on each.
If I'm doing 10 on each.
Yeah. If it's Texans, Jags, it pays you 70.
Right.
If
but
it's
I'm
Jags,
losing
Texans,
out on 10.
Right.
So I'm really getting 60.
Yeah.
You said 70 and 95. That's what they pay out.
That's what they pay out.
Yeah, but if
so
you
your
do
profit
both,
is 50 or 75. I said that.
Oh, you did. Okay, never mind. I was like, wait a second, I didn't do that math. Look at us try to explain it, and then I make it confusing for everybody. Sorry, guys.
Jamie says Jags 100 or getting over 8 wins 100%, and then under over Deshaun Watson massages this season on Hard Knocks. Definitely the over. What's a player jersey you want for your background that you don't own? That's a good question. I'd have to think on that. I have 2 of the best players here, Walter Payton and Brian Scott. I know people not familiar going, who's Brian Scott? USFL. He played in, by the way, Instagram suspects automated behavior from us and we're in trouble. Apparently we'll see what that's about. Are we getting hacked? Anyways, I just happened to see that on your screen over there.
Shoot. So we're not live anymore.
We're not live anymore. Anyways, Brian Scott, he's in the CFL now, plays for the Argos. I'm a big fan of him. He's won everywhere he's been. Let me talk about my dog, my long shot bet. Now, I know you gave out Kirk Cousins and Jesus as your comeback player of the year award. And the NFL is now telling the voters, make sure it's somebody that was injured. So I'm going to throw somebody out in this division, Anthony Richardson. We saw the talent there last year. He's a very elite rusher. He has a hell of an arm and we saw him make the passes. I didn't think he would be able to do it his rookie season, but he did. It's just a matter of if he can stay healthy. So with those passing and running abilities, I think AR-15 could absolutely win this if he stays healthy. It's plus 600. So 6-1, your $10 gets you 70. I like that. Now we asked Kirk Cousins or Jesus who's going to win it. Now we have to ask Kirk Cousins, Jesus, or Anthony Richardson.
Oh my God.
So we'll have to see.
I didn't say that.
Nick Fortune saying my new man crush, and he said Brian Scott, Brian with an A. Come on, get it right.
Come on.
But yeah, he texted me earlier. It's kind of cool when a professional quarterback texts you, asked how it was going, and said he's waiting for his time to shine on the CFL field. So, do you have anything else you'd like to add? We're gonna get a talking to for running over.
No, we're good. Knock it off. No, I think I'm good. And I just circle back to the whiskey. I highly recommend a Brimstone Old Fashioned.
Speaking of old fashions, you have some work to do, but mine's gone.
It is.
I'll finish yours if you don't want it.
No, it's mine.
Going once, going twice.
Sold.